For my last 2 high school years, there was this guy who we will call Jack. Jack was quite mean to me. I'm a pretty skinny guy, and he made fun of me relentlessly for it, calling me things like Twigs or Skeleton Boy and other stuff like that. One day, he somehow found out I was gay, and he made fun of that a ton too. When I graduated, I was happy that I didn't have to deal with him anymore. 2 years later, we had a reunion party of sorts. When we met up again by the end of the party, he apologized for all the stuff he said, and the apology seemed pretty legit to me. I was just about ready to leave anyway, so I simply sighed before turning around and walking away without saying a word to him. One of the other former students heard it all, and as I was walking away, he said, "That was immature. You should at least say thank you for the apology instead of being a jerk like that." I responded with piss off and mind your own business, before heading home. I think OP is not the jerk in this instance. It is good that the high school bully has realized his mistakes, but he is not entitled to a thank you from OP for doing the bare minimum and apologizing for his previous actions. One commenter commented, "Not the jerk at all. Apologies are not transactional." The bully made his apology, and if he considers his conscience clear, then that's his right. You are under no obligation to make him feel better. None. In fact, by walking away, you took your bully's power away from him for once. Maybe your cold shoulder will make him realize how much he really hurt you in the past. Good for you. Next story. Am I the jerk for refusing to give my boyfriend his share of the money? My 24-year-old boyfriend and I, a 26-year-old female, have been together for 4 years. About 2 weeks into our dating, I bought myself a PS4 because I was bored, and I felt left out because everyone on Twitter was playing the Spider-Man game. However, my boyfriend ended up being the only one who uses it. I pretty much only use it to watch Netflix or Hulu in the living room since we have an Apple TV in the bedroom. Despite him using it a lot, I still thought of it as mine, considering I bought it for myself originally. Anyway, I got him a PS5 for Christmas this year, and I plan on selling the PS4 since we don't need it anymore. And most of the games he plays are also available on the PS5. I asked him if I would be able to use the PS5 for Netflix and so on, and he said yes. I told him how I was planning on selling the PS4, and he asked me how we were planning on splitting the money. I told him I didn't plan on splitting it since it's technically mine. He's telling me it's unfair since he's used the PS4 more than I have, and therefore it's practically his too, so we should split the money. The thing is that I wouldn't expect money if he decided to sell the PS5 despite using it, since it's his. I don't think I'm wrong for wanting to keep the money for myself. At the end of the day, I bought the PS4 for myself very early in our relationship. At the same time, it did become a shared appliance for the past 4 years, so maybe he feels some sort of ownership towards it too? What do you guys think? Not the jerk. The boyfriend is not entitled to any of the money made from the sale of the PS4 as it truly is hers. He may have been using it for the last 2 years, but in the end, it is hers to do with as she pleases. He should be grateful to have received a newer version of the console that he can claim as his own. Now, some of the comments on this post seem to be a little too harsh on the boyfriend. Maybe it was simply an innocent question, and he wasn't doing it maliciously. For example, one commenter said, "Not the jerk. Laugh out loud at the Costco-size entitlement of him getting years of free play on your PS4, and you literally buying him the PS5, and his unwashed butt wants cash as well? Please take some time to look at who he is because he sounds wildly greedy, and that means it hits in all areas, not just money. Does he meal plan? Grocery shop? Prep food? Cook? Scrub toilets? Wash floors? Wash, dry, fold, and put away clothes? And I'm guessing he's probably been stealing your free time as well." Now, although this commenter could be 100% right, we would need more context and information to make that conclusion. Another reply that I found funny was this one. "Not the jerk. Ask your boyfriend why he hasn't been giving you your share of all the crack he must have been smoking to think that using your PS4 a lot was gradually giving him ownership of it. The boyfriend is way off base on requesting part of the money, and I found this comment to highlight the absurdity of that belief in a funny way. Next story. Am I the jerk for not attending my husband's celebration dinner because the restaurant didn't have anything I could eat? My husband has been working really hard for the last 2 years to advance at his company, and he finally got the promotion he's been after. I'm really, really proud of him. His parents are too and wanted to take us all out to dinner to celebrate his new promotion. My husband absolutely loves prime rib, and there's only one place in our area that serves it, so he picked that restaurant. The thing is, I'm not fond of steak. I'll eat it, but very rarely. I prefer chicken or fish. I looked up the menu before leaving, and right now they have a limited menu. The place had only 1 fish entree and 2 chicken entrees, and none of them sounded good for various reasons. I suggested that he pick someplace else so everyone could eat. He refused, citing that we rarely get to go to this place but go to other places in our area regularly, which is true, but those places have lots of variety so everyone can eat. He suggested that I ask if they could prepare the fish or chicken without the marinades or sauces, but I didn't want to be difficult for the kitchen staff. His next suggestion was that I order dessert, while everyone else ate entrees. And then when we were done, he would take me where I wanted, so I could eat dinner while he and the kids ate dessert. I opted to just not go, because I didn't want to sit there not eating and not having a good time while everyone else was. My husband asked me to go so he could celebrate with the people most important to him. I told him no again, and that he needed to get going before he was late. He did go, but came back a little over an hour later with the kids, and they all had to go boxes. He said he couldn't think of what to tell the kids about why I didn't go when they kept asking without lying or making me sound bad. So he just got an order for them to go and let the kids spend some time with their grandparents talking in the parking lot. I told him he should have stayed, but he said that I put him in a bad spot with the kids, and that I knew he wanted everyone there, and that I should have just gotten over my picky eating for one night. I maintain that if he really wanted us to all eat dinner as a family, then he should have picked a restaurant with a more accommodating menu. Update. Some of these comments were pretty harsh, but a kick in the pants. I've apologized profusely to my husband, and I am going to take him to that restaurant this weekend and buy him some camping gear he's been eyeing as a start to making it up to him and changing course. OP is definitely the jerk in this situation, and should have been more understanding towards her husband. She had already made up her mind that she wasn't going to like anything on the menu, and she refused to take his suggestion of requesting something as simple as removing a sauce so she could have a meal while celebrating her husband. The fact she's now realized her mistake and done some self-reflection is a good thing, but her husband's memory when he thinks back to the moment he finally got promoted after 2 years of hard work will no longer be a good one, but one where his wife seemingly didn't care about his accomplishments and made it about herself. The comments OP was referring to in her update are harsh, but they are the truth. One comment reads, "You're the jerk, selfish, and a poor partner." Don't lie. It wasn't that there was nothing you could eat, there was nothing you wanted to eat. You also were too scared to ask the staff for a substitution. It's one dinner, and you won't starve if you don't eat everything on the plate, nor will it poison you. Your husband doesn't get to go to this restaurant he likes, often because he is honoring your wishes most of the time, but you can't deal with it for him this one time. You basically told your family, "My food preferences are more important than your feelings or supporting you." Then you left your husband in the awkward spot of having to try and lie for you. Because if he told everyone the real reason you missed the dinner, they would be calling you a jerk, just like this entire thread is. Apologize and learn that sometimes you don't get everything exactly how you want it. Another comment says, "You're the jerk." I'm not fond of steak. I'll eat it, but very rarely. This should have been one of those rare times. Or you could have asked the kitchen staff to make the chicken or fish without sauces, but you couldn't even be bothered asking for that. My understanding is you deliberately sabotaged your husband's celebration dinner using your food preferences as an excuse. We'll take a look at one more comment before moving on to the next story. You're the jerk. He was bending over backward with suggestions to accommodate you because he wanted you there and you couldn't suck it up for a few hours to make him happy? Just because you might inconvenience the kitchen staff while not caring how you inconvenienced and hurt your own family. I frequently ask for dishes without marinades and sauces because I don't like them and have never once had an issue with the kitchen or waitstaff. Seriously, do you even care about his feelings at all? He rarely eats there and only chose this place because it was a special occasion. Eat a salad or soup or dessert and be present. That's all he asked. It's not that hard. Next story. This next story is a would I be the jerk, meaning OP is asking for opinion before actually doing it. In this story, OP asks, would I be the jerk if I didn't let my husband's daughter come home after she ran away? My husband's 21-year-old daughter moved in with us after she turned 18 because she hated her mom's boyfriend. I actually had a friend paying to rent a room at the time who I asked to move out so she could have it. I didn't even charge him for the last month to help him find a new place. It has honestly sucked. She was entitled, lazy, and refused to clean up after herself. She would complain about dinner and get up and go back to her room, leaving her plate at the table. She would clean her room and leave a sink load of moldy dishes. She never once helped clean any common areas and never paid any rent. One time I woke up to her gone, and the guy she had been dating for 3 months was watching TV in my living room while she was at work. I could go on for days. She would only help if something turned into a fight, either with her and I, or her dad. 5 weeks ago, we got into it again and she packed her stuff and left. We found out later that she moved in with her 40-year-old male coworker. Now the coworker and she are not getting along, most likely due to similar problems, and she wants to come back. I'll be honest, I have already cleaned out her room and made it into a game room / office / workout room. Life has been 1,000 times better with her not here. She comes over and visits regularly, which started not long after she left. She got nicer and nicer as she told us how mean her roommates were. This coworker also had a married couple with a child living with him as well. Her dad still takes her out for dinner and things like that, so it's not a no-contact situation. Her mom is currently couch surfing, so she can't move back in with her. I don't want her to move back in here. My husband wants us to let her come back, but give her a timeline to find another place. I don't want to. Because 1, I am enjoying the peace of having our own space. 2, I don't trust her to stick to an agreement. And 3, she had bad-mouthed me to a ton of people. Her and her friends call me step-monster, so I am not really feeling that inclined to help her. Edited to add, to be clear, she is safe where she is. She is just not getting along with them. She is unhappy and broke. I don't think OP would be the jerk in this situation. I've had my fair share of bad roommates, and it truly makes you uncomfortable in your own home. It's not a fun situation to be in. It sucks to have your boundaries crossed and to feel helpless about the situation just because they are family. One comment reads, not the jerk. It's your home and you should be able to feel comfortable living in it. You shouldn't feel obligated to give a room to someone who feels entitled and has no respect for you or your home. I understand adulting at 21 is difficult and I sympathize, but it also doesn't give her an excuse to act like a child or not contribute in any way, no matter how small the contribution may be. Another commenter who can relate to the situation that the stepdaughter is in commented, I admit I had a heart attack reading this as I thought it was about me for a second. I was in a very similar situation to your stepdaughter. I was 21, a college dropout, and had severe mental health issues. I moved in with my dad and his girlfriend at the time into what was formerly her home before they started dating. Not the jerk. I brought my freaking dishes to the kitchen. I helped cook when I could and did chores regularly. I even tried to keep my room clean so their cat, who was used to going into the room before I moved in, still could. I wasn't the best houseguest, I'm sure, but I tried my best to show my appreciation despite my mental state. I knew full well I was an adult, and that I was in that home because of their generosity. Especially my dad's girlfriend, as she had not signed up to live with me since my college dropout, was a surprise. The woman you described is not recognizing the sacrifice it takes to let someone else into your home. She feels as if she is entitled to it. She's not going to change or learn by being let back in. It's a terrible shame, and I wish her growth in her life. But that growth won't happen if she doesn't experience consequences for her actions. If you do decide to let her back in, I strongly suggest writing out a rental agreement of sorts, so she knows she can no longer leave a mess in your house without risking her housing arrangements. And that she certainly can't leave unattended guests at the house. That and therapy for her, but I know that's much easier said than done.